Hello everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel once again. In this tutorial, we are going to be looking at the tools in CorelDraw, and I'm going to be focusing more on the tools that I use on the regular basis. So when you open your CorelDraw application and you start a new document, usually you have your tools on your left hand side. There are many, and then they are not restricted to just what you see. Some of them have panels here for you to have more options and so on and so forth. So let's get right into it. Okay, so the first tool we're going to be looking at is the pick tool. So the pick tool is more like your default tool in CorelDraw application. You'll be using it most often. Personally, I use it a lot. So we are going to quickly look at how to use the pick tool and then what it can do. So in CorelDraw, it comes with an advantage. Okay, the advantage is that you can just click on the tool, you highlight it, and it will tell you what it does, which is select, position, or transform object. So the pick tool is used to basically select, position, and transform objects. So we are going to look at how to go about that. Okay, so how to select an object. So here we have three rectangles. We have a red rectangle, yellow rectangle, and green rectangle over here. And then these rectangles are what we are going to be used to do most of our demonstrations. All right. So to select an object, we have two ways. You can either use more like the highlighting method, or the selection method, or the dragging method, or the clicking method. Let me use that. So the dragging method or the clicking method. So to select using a click, I just click on the object I want to select, and I've selected it. Okay, so when I want to select, what you want to select, two things. I click on the first one, and then I hold on to shifts on our keyboard, and then select the next one. If I want to select multiple, more than two, the subsequent ones are still holding on to shifts while I do that. And basically, that is how we do the selection using the click. What if I want to select using the drag method? So I just have to click any part of my screen. I mean, not the entire screen though. I mean, I'm talking about the canvas. This place is a usable part within your CorelDraw. This part, the part that has been marked out with these rulers. I mean the scroll bar and all that. So back to this part. Okay, so to select using, so you just have to click and drag. So this is a dragging method. Okay, so you click and drag over the object you want to select, and then you are good to go. The key thing you should look at is make sure always that what you are selecting falls inside the area that you are dragging it over. So if I should even get some part of yellow to be part of the drag, and then yellow is not completely immersed inside the area I just drag or highlighted, yellow is not going to be selected. Okay, if I want yellow to be selected, which is if I want to do multiple, I just have to select it, pick, and make sure yellow is completely immersed inside, and then I am good to go. If I want to do the third one in the same order. So that is how we select in CorelDraw. Okay, so we're going to look at the next thing, which is to position. Actually, so to position actually is to change the position. So easily we are going to do it this way. So every time before you position any object at all in CorelDraw, you first of all have to select it. Okay, that's the first thing you should look at. So if you select here, then you can now position. To position, you can either click to select and then you drag, or you can highlight to select and then you drag. So you click, hold, and then you move it to wherever you want to put it. That is how we do the positioning. The last thing that the pick tool does and helps us to do is what we call the transforming. So it's one thing that pick tool you'll be using mostly for aside the moving and the position and all that. So transforming actually simply means changing the look of your object. Okay, that's the basic definition I can give. So when you select, you can see this should I say extra boxes at the edges of the object you selected. So these are the parts that will be helping us to do the various transformation. So usually when you use the ones in the corner, what it does is it increases or decreases the size, or it enlarge or reduces the size of the object. Should I say perpendicular, which means it does within a fixed ratio, which means it's as the height increases, as it increases horizontally, it also increases vertically in order. So you can see it when I use a canal, it enlarges. When I reduce it to this in that. And when I want to just enlarge it horizontally, I can actually just click and then drag it. This is to one side. What if I want to do it to two sides? I hold my shift while I drag, so you can see it's working two sides. The same thing with the top as well. I can just hold the shift, and then shift actually helps us do so many things. The same thing with the canons. I can just hold shift, my shift, and when I hold shift, you can see that means all sides will be enlarged together at the same time or reduced at the same time. So that is how that one works. So now we are going to look at rotation. Rotation is a form of transforming the object, the orientation, how it looks. So what if I want to rotate it? So to rotate, you double click, or you can select. After you select, you want to rotate, just click once, and then you have the chance to rotate. So you said the indicators we had earlier on will now change into these, let me say, rotational angles or these rotational arrows. Okay, so when you use the canons help you rotate it. You can see it, and there's a real-time calculation of the angle at which you rotate everything. You can see it over here. And if I want to take it back to default, I put it at 0, and then it's going to reposition. What if I want to rotate it through 90 degrees? I just type 90 degrees and then put it to 90 degrees. So back to 0, and then we are good to go with that. So that's how to do a rotation. But then what if I want to skew it? So skewing is actually this is a form of transformation. Okay, so I can just hold it, click here and drag down, click here and drag down, click, drag down. So you can see this is a different shape altogether, more like a parallelogram. Yes, so I do find difficult to mention the word sometimes. Anyway, that's just by the way. All right, so we can produce so many shapes and other things just from rotating it and then also skewing at the same time. Okay, so basically that is the whole thing about Pick 2. That's how we can use Pick 2 to do so many things. And don't forget, you can actually do all the things we mentioned after selecting. So when I select multiple, I can reduce their size together, I can increase their size, I can click and rotate all of them together as well. So please feel free and explore the Pick 2. All right, thank you. So the curve tool. So the second tool we have here is the curve tool. When I hover over, you see it's used to edit a curve object or a text character by manipulating nodes. We'll look at what nodes are. So usually, let me give you a simple example, straightforward. When I use the Pick 2 to select, you can see from the corner it says node. Okay, so the nodes are actually they're like points on the whole shape that you can actually manipulate. Okay, so I'm going back to the curve tool. So what the curve tool does, it helps you to even though it's got curves, it actually helps to make curves and also helps manipulate tools even further than the Pick 2 does in terms of transformation and all that. So by using nodes to do all those things. So the very basic duty does, I'm sure some of you will just begin to like this. So when you select it, especially on a rectangle, okay, you would just click at the center, the edge here, and then you drag and you can have a rounded rectangle. That's how to usually create a rounded rectangle in CorelDraw. And then you can drag it fully to get more like this nice tool here. And people usually use it most of the time. Personally, I use it a lot to create some nice effect. Can change the color and you put the text into it. We'll be looking at all these things in the future. So please try and then play around it as much as possible. Okay. One thing about these tools is the more you try and play around it, the easier and further the easier it becomes for you. So this is almost like a circle and all that. But don't forget, it's still a rectangle anyway. What if I want to take it back to default? I just click the curve tool and then I drag it here and it goes back to being a normal rectangle, just like it used to be. Now, so the how do I say it? The features of what this tool can do, the curve tool can do, is limited when you don't turn this into a curve. Remember, it says what? It edits a curve object. So this object here is not a curve object, it's a normal shape. So to convert an object into a curve object, what you do is you right click on it and then you have convert to curves, or you can just use the shortcut Control Q. Okay, so now I've converted this over here to curves. Now let's see how the the curve tool works. So actually you use the curve tool a lot when you are doing logo designs and manipulating text, characters, and a whole lot. So we'll be looking at them into details as time goes on. Okay, so you can see one here, so I can use this to actually change. You can see this is deep, a deep manipulation of the shape than what the pick tool usually do. So you can see, so these are some of the icons and logos and so on and so forth that you see are usually created. So it's a curve, so there are so many ways. I can click on it and then use this option over here, so to convert to a curve. When I convert these, then I'm converting this line to a curve, and it gives me the chance to play around this. Can then select here, and then it will give me a chance to also play around this in that order. So you can see what the curve tool is used to do. So many things. So these are we actually design most logos by using the curve tool. And if you master the curve tool, it's a very, very big advantage you are adding to your skill, because it helps so much make certain work easier. But don't these are the tools I prefer using. Okay, so there are so many ways to do one thing in CorelDraw application. It's okay. All right, so that is what the curve tool usually does. All right, so let me just give a quick demonstration on how we use it to also manipulate text. So assuming I click here, I can just, maybe let's say I write a letter A. Okay, let me just enlarge it. Don't forget with this, it's selected, so you can use it, or you can just come to the pick tool and then you enlarge it. So when I enlarge it by clicking the corners, as I said earlier on. So with text and image, usually it's advisable with using the pick tool, you enlarge it using the top node here. Okay, the corner nodes. Okay, so with this, assuming I want to convert it to a curve and manipulate it, so I can just right click, go to convert to curves. So you can see the nodes here. They are these faint boxes over here. Okay, so when I go to the curve tool, you can see that it shows me all the nodes I can play with. So I can decide to actually remove this part of this letter A and reduce it, and at the end of the day, it's like I'm creating my own customized font. Okay, so I can do so many things. I can actually just play around this, and yeah, there we go. This is a nice one. Somebody do this and call it a logo. Yeah, so that is the beauty of using the curve tool. The curve tool is very, very manipulative. It gives you the chance to manipulate any shape, provided you're able to convert it to curves, and it has nodes. You can use the curve tool to work around it. You can also use the curve tool to actually fully transform just a normal line into other things. So let me just demonstrate that quickly. As I create a line. Okay, just create a line, and then I want to manipulate it. I can just see the head and the tail, right? So I just tap on the head this way, and then here convert to curves. I just right click on it and use the convert to curve. So you can see that I'm able to easily transform this into something nice. So the impact of it, as when I'm doing a copy and paste of this node I have, I just click on it and then make the second one out, and then we have something beautiful going on here, right? So usually the curve tool, I use it so many times when I'm designing logos and all that. So basically that is all for now for the curve tool. We'll be going deeper into it in later videos. Okay, so one other tool that I use most often aside the ones I mentioned earlier on, we have the rectangle tool. Okay, so the rectangle tool is one tool that you'll be using most often as well, because it's used to do so many things. So I can, to create a rectangle, I just select on this, and then I can just click and drag to create a shape. So I click at one side, drag to create that shape. So what if I want it to be perfect dimension? So you can see this. And one thing about this object in CorelDraw is that it gives you the sizes, and you can see over, so it's in millimeters. So this is 108.797 by 83.882. Okay, so I can actually change this to just 200, and then it will be big to correspond with it. Okay, so I want to try as much as possible to look at some of the few other things that this can come with. Okay, so this is for creating a rectangle. So what if I want to create it as a square? So there's no tool over here for square, but to create a square, A square is a form of rectangle though, just that it has equal sides. Okay, so to create the equal side, we hold the we hold our control key on the keyboard. You hold the control key on the keyboard while you drag, and then you see it's giving you a more like the same ratio or same sided figure, which makes it a square. And to work around it, so as I said, using the corner also reduces it in that same manner. Okay, to paint the rectangle is simple. Just select it and then you left click, okay, or you click, that's the word, right? So you click on the color you want from here. If the color is not suffice or it's not enough, you can double click. We'll come to all this, but don't worry, and then you change your color in that way. So that is for creating rectangles, simple rectangles. So there's another use case of creating rectangles. Maybe for instance, I want my background to be of a particular color. I can just double click on the rectangle and you can see that it creates a rectangle around my page, so I can make my whole background that way. So in CorelDraw, you cannot color, or you cannot change the color of the page this way. You have to create more like a rectangle on top, and to get the most perfect rectangle, just double click on the rectangle and then you are good to go. Okay, so I've deleted that. We're going to look at other things. You can see it's used to draw squares rectangle by dragging into the window. So that's what it does. In here, whenever you click on this small black corner, it gives you other things that are attached to some of the tools. I forgot to mention. So the pick tool has some, which is the freehand pick, free transform. Crop tool comes with all this, but I don't use it on a regular basis. That is why I didn't mention them. Okay, and then we have so most of these other ones over here too. I don't really use most of them, so I'm not going to look at them for now. I'm only considering the tools that I use on the regular basis, as I said. Yeah. Okay, so we have this. So that's all for the rectangle tool for now. We'll be looking at more things you can do with it later on. Okay, and we all are by now, I'm sure we are aware of how to just click. If you don't know how to really use the curve tool to manipulate a rectangle, you can actually go back and then watch the video on the curve tool. Okay, so I'll leave the link to it in the description so that you can actually have access to it. Okay, thank you. So you can actually transform into so many ways, from a rectangle to anything you want to do with it. So that is it for now. I think let me try and combine it with the ellipse tool. Okay, so the ellipse tool, it's more like the circle tool here. So you can see it's used to draw circles and ellipses by dragging in the drawing window. So the drawing window is actually what I show. So there is a drawing window here. So when I just click and drag, I create this an ellipse or like an oval creating or something like that. If I want it to be a circle, so a circle actually has the same ratio around it. So I just click and hold control. So I make sure I hold my control while I do the dragging. So you can see that it has more perfect compared to the previous one that I did. So that's how that one also works. And then so that's you using this, and when you come here you can also see a 3 point. I don't really use this. I feel there's a place for that, but I will talk about it later on. So that is it for being able to work around the rectangles, and then also circles, like creating these simple rectangles, squares and circles. Okay, so the next we are going to look at is this guy over here. It's called the Polygon Tool. So you used to draw polygons by dragging in the window. So the Polygon Tool is actually containing so many other tools. So it's a polygon, which means it's just an enclosed-sided figure. It could be a square, it could be a rectangle, it could be a triangle, and so on and so forth. So when you click on the rectangle, the Polygon Tool, you can choose the number of sides you want from here. Okay, and then the size of the outline. Okay. So we'll be looking at what an outline is shortly. Okay, so we have this. So assuming I choose 3, which means I want a 3-sided polygon. So I'm going to draw, you see, a 3-sided polygon by clicking and dragging, as it says. So I can increase it so to 4-sided, 5-sided, 6-sided, 7-sided, and so on and so forth. Okay, I can actually select, so this 8, make maybe a 10, first of all, so let me say I'm clicking outside, going back to it, and I select maybe 8. So 8-sided, I draw it to give me directly a straight 8-sided figure. Can just click outside again. So you see, I'm coming back to the pick tool and click outside, and then when I want to do the next one, maybe I just want to maybe a 6-sided figure, a pentagon, a hexagon. I just go straight with that one, and so that's how to actually play. So in case you want to create triangles just by giving it a 3-sided, you're good to go. Actually also have perfect polygons, okay, I mean with or direct called regular polygons, so which means it has equal sides. So by holding control and then dragging, so it have equal size. If it's a 3-sided one, you can see it will come with more like, so because it was not originally drawn this way, so let's get a 3-sided sugar, a triangle with perfect sides. I just hold control, so I change this to 3, and then we hold control, and then we are good to go. So we have a perfect triangle, something. Okay. Yeah, so basically that's how to use the Pentagon tool. And don't worry, there's a lot of things under here, but this one we use some. So there's a star tool. So let me just clear my screen. We will just erase this brown area just by clicking and pressing the delete key and then that gone. Yes, in case you mistakenly delete something you don't, you can just use the Control plus C and then come back in order. Then that way, so all undo and redo that way for you. Okay, so under the polygon tool, when you use the arrow, you see a star tool. Okay, so how do we use a star tool? It's also used to create stars, okay, based on number of, so it also has this number of sides, number of, just say arms. Yes. So if I have 5 arms, or I'm calling it arms. Okay. So if I have 5 arms, I'm going to have a normal regular star. So you can see this one is not so okay. What if I want to have a perfect star or with equal sides? I hold control as usual, and then it gives me a perfect sized star. So you can see that it's better. So what if I want a star with so many sides? Okay, maybe let's just say I want maybe 10. 10 is a cool number. Let me use 10. So 10 sides, I just draw, and you're going to see a star with 10 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the order. Okay, so that is for drawing stars. And under that, we have so many other things. We have a complex star, we have graph paper, spiral. I don't really use the graph paper and all these things for now. More often. Okay, so what about you want to use certain tools? So you can go to basic shapes. So let's look at basic shapes. So you can come to the top here to select the shapes you want to use. We have the hearts. Those of you want to draw the hearts designs, make them red. Want to design nice I love you for the loved ones and all that. So you can just use the shape tool and then you're good to go. We have the so many tools over here you can play around with. So they're actually limited, but then they are not fully limited. We would actually look at how to even import in other shapes from outside from the internet and then play around them. Okay, we'll be looking at them also. And the next we have arrow tools or arrow shapes, and you can see there are so many forms of arrows over here as well that you can play around. And this one also comes with a node, so you see it automatically gives you the curve to play with, so you can use to manipulate it and all that in that way. But these are not things I also use on a regular basis, but you have the chance to play around them. We also have the flowchart shapes, we have the banner. I think what do you logo, sometimes you don't use maybe a banner, maybe something like this, and then you can play around it anyhow you really wish. Okay, CorelDraw is very, very open, and you have the chance, it's yours, play around it, and the more you play around it, the more you master it. Okay, we have other ones here as well. And well, I think that's it for the stuff I have under the Polygon tool. So basically that's all I can actually gather around the Polygon tool that we'll be using most often. We'll look at more detail of these tools in later videos. Okay, so the next tool we'll be looking at is the zoom tool. Okay, so you can just press Z and then it gives you the zoom tool. So the zoom tool helps you to actually zoom within a particular area of your work, so you can actually see it well. This is usually used when you have maybe more text within what you are doing. Okay, so to do it, there are also multiple. You can actually select, as I'm doing right now, or you just create a mouse so it to zoom into that particular area for you. You can just use this. So it is increasing, or you can use Control plus plus, or you can use zoom out. This is when you use a Control and minus. That's a shortcut for it. Or you can just press F3 to activate it. So you can see this one brings it back. You can use this one to zoom to page, which means no matter where it is, to zoom to enable you see the full page, and then you have zoom to page width and so on and so forth. And you can zoom to page height and in that order. So that's what the zoom tool is used for. Basically, yes, just click around where you want to zoom in and then to do that for you. So you have zoom to all objects, so where you can see all objects, all that. So that's the zoom tool for now, and I think that is a lot. And under the zoom tool, you have other tools. You have the pan tool. I think the pan tool is used to more like move your page around. Maybe you want to should I say pan? Yeah. You want to pan your page to see just this side in that order, so I can move my whole tool. And that is for the pan. So just the letter H, and then to give you more like how do I say, to drag the hidden areas that you are not seeing out, bring them for you to see them. Okay, so roughly that's it for the pan tool and then the zoom tool. I use them usually, but I prefer using the shortcuts by pressing Control plus Control and then plus, okay, or Control plus minus to zoom out in that. So usually I click the area, and before I do that, and then so for instance, if I want to do it, I just use a zoom. So just a normal pick tool, I click on this and then Control plus zoom, and it gives that big zoom. Or I can use my scroll wheel. Okay, I mean the one on your mouse. You scroll to where you want to zoom into. So you click here, I highlight it, I scroll to that place, and it zooms in the order. Okay, so that is with that. But the other one is also where I'm using a pick tool to do the normal zooming. So yeah. Alright, so the next tool you're going to be looking at is the interactive fill tool. So the interactive fill tool is used to, okay, let's look at, so it says use dynamically apply the current fill to an object in the drawing window. So for instance, I have this object and I have that object. Okay, so if I want to use this, I just select this. If I should more like select white, so the last object I selected will have that is what the pick tool can do. But I can just drag a color and then just drop it, then that way. So drag a color and then drop it, and I'm good to go. And it depends on where you are dropping it. So if I'm dropping it at the edge, you can see it changes to that edge, so it's more like the outline. So the outline changes color. Let's make it red so it will be visible. We can see that the outline has changed color in the order. And then if you want to give it a pink one, this way. If I want the main color to be green, I drop it on the main color, and then in that order. So that's one of the good uses of the interactive fill tool. Another way you can use the interactive fill tool is using it to create gradients. I think I love that one. So aside the normal color, you can come to this place, use the manual. Using the fountain fill to select its patterns, also do filling, which is the colors. But then if you want to do a gradient, so these are the fountain fill concept looks like. I don't really use this most of the time. I prefer using just the straightforward, the easier one that I here, and then I'm good to go. So I click to create a gradient, to select the objects, and then you drag around it, whatever you want to do it. You can move around, don't worry, and please, I want you to try it out. We'll have a full video on how to actually do gradients, and we use this interactive tool to create those gradients. Okay, whether you want it as radar, whether you want it as I think conical, and then the other ways. We'll be looking at all of them in a complete video for how to create gradients only. Alright, so thank you for staying. Thank you for watching this particular one, and I hope you understood everything. If you have any questions, please don't forget to don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section, and then I'll gladly address them for you. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the next tool we are going to be looking at is the Smart Fill tool. So the Smart Fill tool is used to create objects from overlapping areas and apply fills to those objects. Okay, so I'm sure some of us remember this. I think let me use that method rather. So I'm going to draw 2 circles. Okay, they are not perfect, but pardon me. Sure, by now some of us remember our mathematics class when we are doing sets notation and all that. So we have a very nice 2 circles here. So basically what we use this Smart Fill tool to do is used to what? It says you to create objects from overlapping areas. So where these two overlap, I can create an object out of that, and I have this. So you'll be surprised to know that a lot of logos were drafted, a lot of things we see in our daily activities were drafted from this. So just look at this. I'm going to quickly do a small demonstration. So this is, I can use this and then copy and paste this, and then just change the angle. So these guys help us rotate it, how do I say it, more like mirror it. Okay, so I'm going to mirror this and then put it here. Yes, this and this and this and this and that, and you can make it smaller. Just all of us already getting the whole vibe what I'm doing. Yeah, so yes, and so on and so forth. Okay, actually have fun, and I can actually create another one out of it, and then just drop it at the top here like this, something small. So please don't mind me. So actually that's the way you can actually use the Smart Fill tool, and then you are good to go. So imagine I make this a green. Sure, you know, understand where I was going. So this is just a simple demonstration I was doing. Okay, so don't be scared, we'll be looking at them. So the Smart Fill tool is usually used to create 2 colors. So when you're drawing logos, I actually just draw a line. Okay, just a line like this, and then you just select, and then you're good to go. You can just draw any shape, anything, just anything at all, overlapping areas. So you used to fill or create shapes over there and then show them. So whatever we do becomes shapes. So this is a shape, this is a shape on its own, this becomes a shape. These are irregular shapes. Okay, so we can play around them. So that's what the Smart Fill tool is used for. It's a tool I use a lot because I love designing logos using CorelDraw. So you know, you'll be doing a lot of filling and all that after drawing some parts of your logo.